All right, let's talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh collection. You excited? You're a big Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Like you had a Yu-Gi-Oh channel before you were a video game channel.
Yeah, well, I don't think we could call me a big Yu-Gi-Oh guy anymore. I'm kind of a
But
Yu-Gi-Oh hater.
yeah, but here's the thing. This is old Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, you're right in that it's old Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's not the old Yu-Gi-Oh I would consider worth playing for the
Oh,
most
shut
part.
up. This is chocolate. This is chocolate and peanut butter coming together. Video games and Yu-Gi-Oh. Just mash them
So,
together.
video games and Yu-Gi-Oh works when you're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh, when you're like in like a Duelist of the Roses type situation where you're playing like a weird kind of 3D board game that's based off of
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh that uses some of the monsters. I owned, I think, two of the games in this collection as a kid. One of them on Game Boy Advance, and maybe
Which one
just
do you have?
Huh?
Yeah, you got to say which one it was.
I think
Which
it
one?
was Sacred Memories. Let me look up. Let me look up.
Well,
what's
there's
in the
Sacred Cards. That's was it like
Sacred
an
Cards?
RPG or was it just a card game?
Let me see. It was an RPG.
Okay, yeah, that was Sacred Cards.
Let me
I'm
see.
pretty
If
sure.
And I had because like the other Yu-Gi-Oh games, Sacred Cards is what I had. The other ones that I had were like not Yu-Gi-Oh, like not the actual card game of
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I get what you're saying.
So
And they didn't include any of these in the collection. Not a single one of these experimental ones. They're all based on the card game.
yeah, and I think part of the reason they did that is because people like the card game is kind of popular digitally with Master Duel. A lot of people play Master Duel. And so if they're going to get a Yu-Gi-Oh collection, it's like a retro collection. That audience would probably not respond as well to like a game that's not actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But the ones where you're not actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh are the best Yu-Gi-Oh games. So,
I don't really agree, honestly.
oh
If I'm
really?
being real. Well, I mean, I have a soft spot in my being for Forbidden Memories, which is, technically a card game, but there's nothing really to do with the real Yu-Gi-Oh card game. That game's a pile of shit, though. Like, it's horrid. It's like one of the worst games ever. I love the presentation, I love the music, but like, when you're actually playing cards, it is some of the most stank nonsense ever made.
Is that one in the collection?
No, they didn't add any. They added basically none of the cool games.
Dang.
Like, they went with the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, but they didn't even include the Game Boy Advance game I really wanted to play, which is the GX one where you're at the school. I don't remember what it's
dang.
called. Because have you ever seen my Yu-Gi-Oh video by chance?
That was one of the first videos of yours that I watched after finding your
The
channel.
memory's
and I don't
fuzzy,
remember
man,
it.
probably. Yeah.
I don't remember it. But I can tell you this. I remember I was watching it halfway while I was in the drive-through for Jimmy John's
Hell yeah.
at the time.
Good times. Good times.
And I did smash that like button.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Like you should do as well.
That is one of my lesser viewed videos, I think. I think it only has like 2,000 views. Which is a
Really?
shame, because I was proud of it. I thought that one came out well. But,
For a while,
That's
2,000
neither-
views would have been like my most viewed video by a long shot.
well, I mean, even at that time, 2,000 I think was kind of bad for that
That's
video.
too bad.
Yeah. Let's see. But I reviewed a whole bunch of games in that. Like, I reviewed Forbidden Memories and like a bunch of the Game Boy Advance ones. And yeah, basically the one that I was interested in revisiting was the GX one that's like also a social sim and you take tests and stuff. But they just kept it to like Yugi and the gang. And unfortunately their games aren't as interesting.
Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh brand in general is kind of weird right now. They used to always have an anime to coincide with the card game. But for
Yeah.
the last like 3-ish years, there hasn't been an anime. Maybe even longer.
The thing is, they don't need it because the only culturally relevant one is Yugi and everybody. Like, who cares about any of the other ones that came after?
I do. I think GX is really good, and I think 5Ds is actually my favorite.
D's nuts. Come on now.
5Ds is great.
Nobody even. I can't even have a mental image of what 5Ds looks like.
It
That
was
wasn't
dueling on
right?
motorcycles.
Oh, that was the motorcycles. Okay.
Yeah. No,
So
the
I
first
used to-
3 were good, but the ones after that I didn't care for. I thought they were bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, you can play all the Game Boy Advance games. I'm getting this day one. Like, I don't know why. I just am.
You just are.
I'm an addict. Is the problem. like stuff too much. The thing is in my head, I've been like mentally like trying to warp and formulate a way that I could make this into a video, even though I know it would be a bad idea and it wouldn't be worth it. Because the thing is, I already reviewed like half these games in my Yu-Gi-Oh videos, so like I would have to do the ones that I skipped over, which are like Dark Duel Stories and the Japanese only like Duel Monsters 6 Expert 2, which they're translating, by the way. They're translating
Dark Duel Stories. That's funny you mentioned that one. That's a notorious game just because it came with good promo cards. Because the thing is, like when they made these games back in the day, they sucked on purpose. They didn't put a lot of effort into them because they were going to sell themselves because they came with promos. Yeah. And like there's so much potential for there to be an actual good Yu-Gi-Oh RPG where you actually play the game. There's so much potential, but they haven't come out with a good one.
There are two buckets of a Yu-Gi-Oh game on the Game Boy Advance. There are the ones that are just simulations of the card game, and that's all they are. This is your Eternal Duelist Soul. This is your World Championship 2004, stuff like that. And then there are the strain that like actually tries to be a game, but bafflingly you don't actually play real Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Like in Sacred Cards, you don't play real Yu-Gi-Oh. You play a fake version of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Same with a Nightmare. No, that's the DS one. What's the
same with Pokemon TCG Pocket?
Never played it, but
you don't play the real Pokemon TCG. You play the dumb. That's the game we were just complaining about.
Oh, I thought you meant I thought you were talking about the Game Boy Color game.
No. The Game Boy Color game people love.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, it's the actual game.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Reshef of Destruction might be the most difficult RPG I've ever finished.
Wait, really?
I'm not kidding. It is the most unbalanced piece of crap ever made. It's so shit. Because they realized they made Sacred Cards way too easy. So all they did was like artificially like adjust the numbers for like what cards you can add in your deck. And they made it suck. Like they made it just so you need to fight like 50 like peon battles just to add like one card to your deck. It sucks so bad.
That's not surprising.
Do you know how the game do you know how the main mechanic of the games and how you could add like cards to your deck? Do you know how that works off the top of your head?
Well, it depends on the game.
Well, I mean in Sacred Cards and Reshef of Destruction, they use the same system. Do you remember what it is?
If I'm remembering correctly, you buy packs from the card shop.
No. It goes a lot more in depth than that.
Oh, okay.
Every duelist, you have like a level, right? And every card in the game also has like a number to it. Like let's say you're level 50 and Pot of Greed is level 55. You cannot add Pot of Greed to your deck because you're not high enough level. But that's not even the only mechanic. There's another number which is the level of all of your cards in the deck combined added up, and it can't go above a certain amount. I don't remember how this is tabulated, but basically you have a limit on like the number of like levels you could have in your deck. And basically this didn't come into play that much in Sacred Cards because the level cap was pretty high.
Yeah.
For Reshef of Destruction, all they did was make it so every card in the game now needs double the level to be used and costs twice as much.
You see, what you're describing actually kind of sounds fun to me. That actually sounds pretty cool.
It is, but they fucked it up. The balancing is all wrong.
So it really is just genuinely awful.
In Sacred Cards, when you win a battle, you will get between, I think a regular fight gets you 5 additional like deck points at the top, like your maximum deck level points is like goes up by 5. And then boss fights give you like 30, 50, 100. They give you a lot. In Reshef of Destruction, you get 1 for every battle, and boss fights give you 3. All they did was just adjust the numbers to like not be in your favor, and it is not fun.
And I'm assuming that like the actual cards that are lower in level, like there's not like some good ones. They're all really bad.
They're all like monsters with no effect with 300 attack. Like that's you're pretty much stuck with that at the beginning. It's fucking stupid.
You see, I like though that they at least you're stuck with that in the beginning because like I think it's kind of cool to like start out with like shitty cards and get better ones. That's part of the RPG that would be fun. But
The problem is in Sacred Cards, even at the beginning, you could cheese your way around this. Like, Regeki doesn't cost that much, and Dark Hole doesn't cost that much, and like those, those like magic cards that are really useful. That you can get those super early. In
they're
Reshef
spell
of
cards
Destruction,
now, Jason.
well, whatever. In Reshef of Destruction, they're like, fuck you, 999. You can't add them to your deck. Fucking max level. And fuck you.
I do wonder if they'll retcon that in the games, if they'll change it to spell.
You think they'll adjust the balancing? Actually, the game might be decent if they adjust the balancing.
Oh, no. I meant literally just change the text from magic to spell.
Oh.
They're not putting any effort into this. I can guarantee you.
Yeah. I feel like they wouldn't even do that, honestly.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in a sad, depressing, terrible state. The only way to win in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just to choose not to play.
But I'm choosing to play. Oh.
Huh?
But I'm choosing to buy this, and therefore I'm choosing to play. So.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about like actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. I'm kind of just venting, but
The problem is I don't know why I'm buying this, because I'm looking at the game list, and it's like, which one of these do I actually want to play? And the answer is none of them, but I'm going to get it anyway.
I admire your spirit, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
Should
I'll
I
try
cheer you
out
on? Should I convince you not to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just replay Eternal Duelist Soul for the 50th time in my life. Because that was the one I had as a kid, so I know that one.
I guess, I'll say this. I would love to buy a Yu-Gi-Oh game, but Yu-Gi-Oh, like, Konami haven't made a Yu-Gi-Oh game worth buying that I can remember in, like, the past 20 years, 25?
I like the one on Switch. The one on Switch that, like, simulates the anime. I like that one.
I don't even know what that one is.
It's like you play actual Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's against, like, you go through the stories of all the animes. There's 5 different animes, right? You can go through, like, the storyline of those.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
And
Maybe
then you
I'm
play
just,
the
like,
duels.
poo-pooing it.
Like you do the Duelist Kingdom, and it's like, oh, you gotta fight Weevil, and you gotta fight Rex, and you gotta fight... the events happen in the same way they happen.
in there?
Yeah. You do all the events that happen in the show. Like, every duel in the show, you play.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you can choose to either have your own custom deck, or you could use, like, the characters deck.
I would do custom, for sure.
Yeah. Well, custom makes it a lot easier, because using the characters decks, I couldn't do it. The decks were not good enough.
Yeah, they're usually very nonsensical and have no real actual synergy.
Yeah. All right, well, that was a good topic.
Yeah.